get around it. That's not really what it's brought to you by. Today's episode is brought to you by that weird feeling when you meet somebody and you sync up and you don't know how, and maybe it's your spirit, but maybe it's just pheromones or some weird bug in your system that gives you bugs. It's brought to you by that. And now here's a song. You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. There's no tenderness like before in your fingertips. You're trying hard not to show it, baby. But baby, I know it. And now here they are, your invenerable host, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. We're here. I'm here. Wow, that was a horrible rendition. That was terrible. That that was terrible, and it started a little bit before 4:20, so that I could smoke with you at 4:20, and I'm glad that I got to do that. I'm gonna try to actually start about 4:18 from now forward, I think, because then we can actually spend time at 4:20. And today we're gonna do some things. Gonna switch up some things today. Do it a little bit of a different way than normally we do it. So I want to tell you. Well, we'll get into the things. You'll see. For instance, hey, I want to talk about this right at the tippy top. I don't want to wait till the end. I want to talk about this at the top. What is it that we're doing here? We're a community. We're under the philosopher's tree. This is a place that is meant for us to share these ideas, some thoughts, some theories, some bullshit, some jokes, some culture, some comedy. Doing all that here on Smoke and Mirrors. And what would be extremely helpful and wonderful is if you would be willing to, if this is an experience that matters to you, if you care about it, if you like it, if it matters to you, if you would share it. Are you willing to share this on your page? Is there a Facebook group of which you are a part that it could be shared to? Somebody who just needs it, whether they think they want it or not. You could share it to them as well. That would be fantastic. I would appreciate that. Another thing that you could do, if you really, really wanted to get down, listen, I'm never going to bogart. I'm always going to do this, and I'm going to do it for free for as long as I possibly can. At least until we're out of having to deal with things like quarantines and fires, which seems like I've given myself a permanent job. Then you could throw $5 on it. That Venmo right there, which is Carlos Wyndham, the Cash App $CKWINDHAM, or the PayPal /me.CKWyndham. You could drop $5 on it right there, and there's no commitment, no hassle, no schmassle. If you really want to get down and you want to become what we call a supplier, you don't want to just pass the J. I'm just asking you, don't bogart. You do want to put something on it, but you want to make sure you're supplying something for the people. That's where you become a patron, as have Ruthie, Erica, Amber, Aaron, Seth, Lisa, Kristen, Renice, Michael, Natalie, Juliet, Tarika, and Tracy. And once we get to 20 patrons, I'll stop doing that. I'll stop saying everybody's name. But we're going to get to 20. And you can do that at Patreon at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. If you do that, just like DJ Wildchild and the other folks who have been actually on the program, the other guests who have been here, you will hold your very own Carlos Kareem Wyndham Portland 2020 trading card. And there is that part. I did really want to say that off the top. It does matter very deeply if you share, because that means more people get to see. And the reason that I am interested in more people getting to see is this. One, while building the community we have built, which is great, and I know you and you know me, and we've talked about all kinds of silly, loopy things. We've talked personal things. Could talk more personal things. Not doing a lot of that today because there are some urgencies. And so I'm going to be talking about what feels urgent right now, and gonna be doing some of that a bit. And in that, it means that sharing what we're talking about, if it resonates, is a thing that becomes urgent as well, because it's kind of on a timetable. Like, okay. So first of all, I've been saying this since we got the chance to start doing it. I'm saying it to you again. Please, 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 please fill out your census. Please fill out your census. This is how it is determined where resources of the federal sort are given to what state and to what populations within the state. So it's also important that you fill it out by your correct race. To be clear, we're not talking about your ethnicity. We are not talking about the story of your great grandmother. We're not talking about your immigration story. We're talking about if a cop pulls you over, of the four races that are available, and that is too few, too few. I see you Middle Easterners, okay? You should please choose the closest one, okay? They are trying to make people white. Everyone who is not black has the opportunity to check white as part of your box. You can be Native American white, Latinx and white, all sorts of things, and white can't be black and white. That's weird, and it's got to do with keeping whiteness afloat. So please do that. Do that. That is one of the things I want to address right off the top. And then want to get into the subject of the day. And it's a deep one, as I said. Okay. Also, before we get into the deep subjects for the day, what I want to do is let you know there's a treat at the end. Okay. If you have enjoyed the when I start breaking out some of the quadruple threats that I might bring to the thing, in terms of not just when I'm interviewing folks, which I guess is what it is. I'm being told this. It feels like a conversation to me, but what the fuck ever. When we're having little chats beneath the philosopher's tree, that's the thing. When I'm just freestyling, jumping out of a tree, dealing with hecklers sometimes, that's the thing. When we're doing a produced segmented piece, that's a thing. I have a producer who's involved with that, all sorts of stuff. Tracy, you know Tracy, and me Noviax, and we do things there. We're into the building a thing. We're building a thing here, and some of the messages I want to get them out. Want to get them out, and one of the quadruple threats that's going to be happening at the very end. If you can hang in there, if you can hang in there, a little bit of music from my band. It's true. I there are occasions that it makes me feel really weird about doing that. Um, you know, cuz cuz I've known the people who are like, "Oh, come listen to my band." And then you listen and you're like, "Oh my god, this is horrifying." So I won't be here. If you were here when I was here with Ray and everything went completely awry, that's not what this is going to be. This is a video, going to be all the way at the end. If you were here for the 9 to 5 cover that I did with Aaron Wallace of Wallace, hey, it's more closer to that, but this is a whole band and it's a thing and it's a song we've been doing for a few years. Peace by Gil Scott Heron, Winter in America. Come check it out at the end. I'm trying to say all the things off top so we can get into it because it's a lot. It's a lot. Let's take a breath. Do you have a bevy? Do you have a warm bevy? I got one. I got one. Replenishing my fucks, as always. East Timor blend from Cole's, running a little bit low. Gonna step that up. My dear friend Dahlia brought me some smoke from a place. That's all I'm saying about that. And of course, our second bowl for the second part of the show That is brought to us by our friends at Bloom. At Bloom. Raven says to smoke at you. And if you happen to be seeing this on YouTube, please do the YouTube things. I guess that means liking it or subscribing to it. There's a bell situation. I don't even know why I care about any of that. That's not, I don't get it all the way, except that it means maybe it's not, you're not having to watch it on Facebook. So that's good. My voice is deep and my eyes are burning because there's so much fire in the air. I do have, of course, the droid that's cleaning the air for me, and so it's making things much more viable. But we are back in noxious air inside again in Portland. Oh well, not what we're talking about. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. It's going to be deep. It's deep. It's deep. Take a breath. Here we go. All right. What we have to talk about is this. We've got to talk about the Swayze of it all. Got to get into it. For those of you who do not know, I have for some time been an advocate of the thespian, the film star, the singer, the recording artist, the dancer, the one and only Patrick Swayze, and seen here preparing to let Johnny know that fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true. And Patrick Swayze was a movie star. Just want you to tuck that one up in there as we keep going. Patrick Swayze was a movie star of some account. In fact, if you are not a fan of Point Break, I know that you are certainly familiar with his turn of not putting baby in a corner, doing the dancing of the dirty variety. This is a scene in the swimming pool, in the lake at the cabin, when he was teaching baby to dance. And funny story about that, it was a huge smash hit, and he was a dancer. He was a dancer, and this was at the height, at the beginning of the height of the Swayze Renaissance. It was he was a film star already. He had been proven a YA draw at the box office multiple times over, and he had power. And yet, in the filming of this movie, he ended up having to do it with a co-star that he was very frustrated with, because it was very well known that she could not actually dance. Here is Jennifer Grey, seen here, actually frustrating the shit out of her co-star Patrick Swayze. He was so frustrato, having to teach her to do these dances. So all those scenes that we thought were cute, actually that was scenes of her trying to learn the choreography and not look like complete shit. He thought it might fuck up his career because he thought himself something of an actual dancer, which is why he insisted on there being dance battle scenes in it, where he was dancing with other dancers, showing that he could dance. Now, proviso, Patrick Swayze was a movie star and had a hit song on the radio and was thought to be something of a dancer. Okay. The meritocracy of whiteness Served him well. Served him well. He got to be a whole ass hunk because of that. And what was funny is that they really did not like each other. They really did not. He knew her from before. As I said, he was an established actor. He was in Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders. He played Dally or Derry or Dally Derry. I don't know. Dally. Derry. He played Derry. He played Derry, and that came out in 1983. In 1984, he got to be in a little movie that you may remember. He knew Jennifer Grey, baby, from before from this other film he did called Red Dawn. Red Dawn was a thing that came out in 1987. No, I'm sorry, 1984. Red Dawn came out in 1984 and was the first time that Patrick Swayze, this is the year after The Outsiders, had to work with Jennifer Grey and already did not take a liking. Now, part of that may have to do with that the director had told a slightly older than the other actors and slightly more experienced Swayze that he to get the real army kind of feeling in the cast that he was actually in charge of C. Thomas Howell and in charge of your Emilio Estevez's brother, that he was in charge of Jennifer Grey, and Jennifer Grey maybe didn't take so good to that idea. Maybe the idea of another actor just being in charge of her, some boy just being in charge of her, wasn't the shit she was after. So, anyway, he didn't like her. He didn't like her from them, but man, Red Dawn. That was a movie, huh? She got to do Ferris Bueller after this. And when she did Ferris Bueller, again with Charlie Sheen, who was also in that, and got a lot of recognition for that. YA actors, wow. Then when they did the screen testing, they said, "Oh shit, these two look good together." So that's where Swayze had to do the thing with her, even if he didn't like her, and he got a hit movie out of it. So, but Red Dawn, that was a thing. That was a thing. That movie was the first PG-13 movie ever. It was thought to be one of the most violent movies ever in the history of movies at that time. It looks kind of, but then at the time, the idea of the Russians somehow taking over and infiltrating everything was a thing that, I mean, it was a height of a Cold War, right? There were some interesting facts about it. I don't know if you know this. As I said, they did not get along. They didn't get along at all. The Patrick Swayze and the Jennifer Grey, not during this, and certainly not during the Dancing of the Dirtiest varieties. And also, the Pentagon used this film to recruit children into the military. That's fun. Sort of like they did with Top Gun, trying to recruit children into flying their airplanes, get them in the navies. And also, 2, 3, that the shooting location that they were on was so cold that Patrick Swayze got frostbite. And let me say this about that. Thank God that he recovered, because otherwise we wouldn't have seen none of them fancy footsteps happening when he was doing that dancing that was so dirty, keeping baby out of the corner. No, I have not seen the movies that made us, but I'll look for it. I'll look for it. Kristen's saying it's a good thing. Hey, one more time. If you've not, if you're watching, if you've not thought to do it, go ahead and share. Go ahead and share the broadcast. It's not going to hurt anything. Doesn't cost you a thing in the world. Please. Okay, so Patrick Swayze, Dirty Dancing, all of that. That was one of the two things I wanted to talk about. So if you're doing the smoke along, ride along, let's get ready for a smoke along, ride along. It was horrible. The Red Dawn. It was horrible. It was not. It was part of the propaganda. It was like in that Rocky IV period. It's a very fucked up period, and it was about all of these Cold War fantasies of what could happen if there were somehow like a Russian government strong enough to influence and take over the United States. And in that fantasy, it was about Russians actually jumping off of airplanes and shooting at us. Um, Fan fiction is interesting. It's close to reality, but it's not reality. So the other piece of fan fiction that I wanted to talk about is one that belongs to a second person who I would like to talk about today. Let's have one more puffle up. I'm glad we talked about Dirty Dancing. I'm glad we're talking about fan fiction and Dirty Dancing and fun things and not serious things, because I was thinking this morning, it's such a state of emergency. Are we ever going to get dessert and fun things again? And I was like, well, you got it. The revolution has to be sexy or whatever the fuck. And evidently, the United States thought that Patrick Swayze is sexy. Was He was people's sexiest man of the year. I mean, that's fine. It's brought to you by people who have for years been trying to trick us into eating mayonnaise by calling it aioli. Brown people, black people don't fall for the shit. It's just mayonnaise. The other one that I wanted to talk about, though, is Michael Caputo. Michael Caputo, seen here wondering, listening in on this very conversation and wondering if he's going to find anything to entrap me with. Michael Caputo is an interesting character, interesting filmmaker. Michael Caputo made a little movie that is called The Ukraine Hoax. This is a movie that is about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden having somehow some involvement in Ukraine that I don't even quite understand what it means precisely if it were true. But it's supposed to mean he's a baddie. He's a bad guy. Joe Biden is a baddie. Now, I'm going to say a thing here. Joe Biden is gross. Joe Biden has demonstrated misogynoir. Joe Biden has a history of grabbing and sniffing on people who seem not to want to be touched. And Joe Biden is the option that we have available to not have the country run by a Nazi, and so who believes in eugenics and who believes in herd immunity. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cast my vote, especially considering that it's fucking easy. Anyway, um, I haven't seen the thing on Netflix. I also have not seen the Ukraine hoax, full disclosure. But I do like fan fiction, and it's just worth knowing who writes fan fiction because the author's voice matters. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the backstory matters. The way it matters to know that Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze didn't actually get along, and that the tension that was created by that is part of what actually sparked some spark when it was time for kissy time. So the backstory matters a bit. So this Michael R. Caputo is somebody who was introduced to the United States by one Paul Manafort. Seen here looking for his brand of hair dye after being in prison because he was in prison. He was part of the Trump campaign. And in fact, part of what he had done was he hired Caputo to chair the campaign for Trump. He did that. He did that, and then he went to jail. Here's an interesting, fun Caputo fact. Fun Caputo fact is that he was for about 10 years a Russian information operative around the globe. Uh, right before he was hired to be part of the Trump campaign. Now, when I'm saying this, I'm not talking about the Trump campaign right now. That's not, I'm talking about the Trump campaign the last time when he got in to the office, when he said, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you find Hillary Clinton's uh, emails. Funny story that there was this guy, Roger Stone, seen here with his very famous Richard Nixon back tattoo. I don't know. Seen here posing for Playgirl. I don't know. Seen here urinating on the Constitution. I'm guessing I can't look at that. Roger Stone did some work with Caputo, seen here feeding information to Roger Stone. And what he did is that the Caputo actually went under orders of Roger Stone to go to Ukraine to get some dirt on Biden. Oh, also too, to find those emails, and the person who hired him again was Manafort, who then went to prison, as did everybody else associated with the campaign. Steve Bannon has now been arrested and indicted, and Roger Stone, though. Oh, but also too, guess what? Too, guess what? Too, Roger Stone. He's not. He's okay now. Everything's going to be fine now because he's got friends in high places. See, his sentence that he was serving was actually interrupted when he was released, as you'll remember, by Barr, seen here having just swallowed a fly. Uh, God, I don't know why he swallowed a fly. I hope he'll die. That is Raj Stone. That is the Attorney General, who serves essentially as Trump's dude, and was saying this morning that the idea of having to stay home in order not to get COVID was the same sort of infringement upon your rights as would be, I don't know, the enslavement of Africans to produce free labor, by which the aristocracy could fill their pockets, including the abuses and habitual raping of those bodies. That's the thing that Happy Mouth said just this morning, just this very morning. This is the same dude who let out of jail again, Roger Stone, who asked Caputo who to go to Ukraine to get some information on Joe Biden and to release some emails on Hillary Clinton, such that convicted, no, alleged, let me not, impeached rapist president candidate Trump would perhaps end up becoming the president who would also become impeached, who would then, had none of that occurred, perhaps only be rapist Donald Trump, rapist and conspiracy theorist at the very least, Donald Trump. He would have been those two things. Well, it's a big stinky mess. Because guess what? Here's the other trick, and the big fun thing of it all is that Caputo, who is always in these weird places next to Russians all the time, and somehow had something to do with the emails and with the first campaign in which everybody got arrested and indicted and went to jail except for him somehow. Well, guess who is now the head of head of health and human services? Health and Human Services here, the HHS here in the United States, the head of it, who was installed is in charge. It's Michael Caputo. Yeah. Mike Caputo is in charge of the CDC reporting that comes out. Now that's because the CDC is under the HHS, And that's what Caputo's in charge of, but he gets to boss around anybody at the CDC. Now, the CDC, they just make science. The science that Donald Trump says doesn't know. The science that says, hey, you know what we shouldn't do? What we should not do is have people going out right now, because if they go out, they're going to get sick. And we don't want them to get sick, and we don't want them to get the virus. What we'd like them to do is to stay home, and we'd like them to wear a mask. That's CDC. Well, that same very CDC has been being told by Caputo specifically that no. We would like for your reports to align much more with what Donald Trump is saying right now, which may have something to do with why the states are no longer trying to prevent people from getting sick. Why would that be? I don't know. Perhaps herd immunity, which, if it works, we have to consider that there are going to be around 215 million people who are going to end up within the country needing of that. You're going to mean that you're going to need to get of that sick 2.97% or so, and that of the 215 million people, you're going to have to get ill 2.97% of the population total to reach herd immunity for this to be a thing that could possibly happen, right? If that should happen, and we keep having the same death rates that we're having now, that means that we're going to have somewhere around 6,385,000 deaths. 6,385,000 deaths to get to herd immunity, which is an idea that was shat upon, including by the president, until it was pointed out that you might have to pump the brakes on the economy for a few months to make that happen effectively, such that people were not dying at such a high rate. P.S. Since they have reopened Europe, the rates of coronavirus have nearly doubled again. Yeah, there have also been reported efforts to completely halt the reports coming from the CDC altogether. Just stop them. Just fucking stop them. So definitely, I don't know, maybe watch Red Dawn, and you could also watch the Ukraine hoax. There's some viewing for you. It's available on Amazon, so that's responsible stewardship of a corporation. Stick around to the end. I have a treat for you at the very end. Would you stick around? Hey, on Monday, September 22nd, join me here under the Philosopher's Tree. I'll be here with Pierre Adeli. He is an actor with Tim Robbins' gang, and we'll be talking about what in the fuck he has been doing since coronavirus. He is a stage actor. He's played many, many roles. We'll talk about some of them. It's going to be pretty good. And then guess what else, too, is on Thursday? That's a week from this day, on September the 24th. I'm going to be here with Lil Milagro Enriquez, and we are going to be talking community stewardship. We are going to be talking women's power. We are going to be talking all sort of the good shit. Please, please, please be here for that. It's going to be fantastic. This right here, where you've been, this has been an episode of Smoke and Mirrors. Yes, it has. And you can look at the Instagram if you want to. That's available at Smoke and Mirrors CCB. You might as well just go ahead and follow it. Why not? Let's get 1,000 billion followers over there and keep spreading all these messages of hope. You could also look at some of the words spoken and written without the speak at Twitter at Caballo Negrito. You got an idea? about things we might want to talk about to elucidate between now and I don't know. Let's pick a number. Let's say the next about 40 days or so. I don't know why that's coming to mind. Go ahead and write me about that. Write us about that over at Smoke and Mirrors CCB at Gmail. Who's us? Well, us is us. This is a thing that's produced and even hosted by myself, Carlos Kareem Wyndham. This is also a thing that is produced by Tracy Tatamy. And there's a whole community of folks who spend time under the tree who, they are part of it too. And we'd like you to be part of it too. Jump in there, get in there. Hey, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of the people around you. Try to stay indoors if you can, especially if you're on the West Coast. If you're in the Bay, guess what? There's still particulate matter in the air. I know the sky looks cute. Please close your fucking windows. You might as well just be vaping in a fucking closet. Just close them up for a second. It's okay. Just close them up for a second. Wash your hands. And if you're going to go outside, wear the appropriate kind of mask because I want to see you again. And I love you. And now here is a treat. My band, Wallace. I'll see you on Monday. I love you. Bye.
From the Indians, welcome the Pilgrims, and the buffalo once roamed the plains. From the vultures circling beneath the dark clouds, searching for some rain, searching for some rain, just like the cities staggered on the coastline, living in a nation just can't stand much more. And the forest buried beneath the highway never had a chance to grow. Never had a chance to grow. And now it's a winter in America, and all of the healers have been killed or sent away. But the people know it's a winter in America. And ain't nobody fighting. No one knows what to say. Save your soul. The Constitution, a noble piece of paper with free society struggle, but it died in vain. And now democracy, ragtime on the corner, searching for some rain, hoping for some rain. And I see robins perched in barren treetops, watching last-ditch races marching across the floor. But just like the peace sign vanished in our dreams, never had
said frost came a rock, watch it fraudulent forfeit. Now the screws turn, you feel that cold burn? Been told for the longest and you're fit to learn. Trayvon, Sandra, Martin, let it burn. Black robes, white justice. So expose the cold truth of who woke and who froze and who came to expose the emperor show that he naked his robes and his records his pose. I'm supposed to awake and my hope is not broken. If Black Lives Matter, probably I could stay breathing. Climate change rearranging 4 seasons. Y'all say deferring, but my people keep dreaming. Fighting, screaming, bleeding for freedom.
Now it's
Winter's
winter.
here.
Winter in America.
Feel that cold breath on your
And all
hot
of the
neck.
healers have been killed and sent away. But the people
Turning
know,
up the color
the
on
people
your winter
know
coat yet.
it's a winter. Winter in America.
Climate change rearranging 4
Ain't nobody
seasons.
fighting. No one knows what to say. Save your soul. 'Cause the
Black
people
Lives
know,
Matter,
the
probably I could stay
people know
breathing.